Talking about courage, where did you find the courage to transitioning from an employee into you have your own business now, right?
I
That can be
do.
scary for some people. Where did you find the courage to branch out on your own?
That's a great question. Well, full disclosure, this is my second time. The
Okay.
first time was I'll call it a concluded attempt, not a failed attempt. When we first moved to Denver, I had a consulting, agile coaching, private practice. And after probably 4 months, basically like one major client, I ended up getting recruited to a company that I had respected for so long. And it was like I just couldn't say no. And
Nice.
so I closed my first business after 4 months. Again, concluded, didn't fail,
Right.
maybe failed, I don't know. Um, and, spent a year with them. And then that's actually when I went to Scrum Alliance for 2 years. Um, After Scrum Alliance, I also worked at a company called Sauce Labs for 9 months as their VP of Business Agility. And
Nice.
they were a wonderful company. But frankly, when you have been in the role that I was in at Scrum Alliance, it's actually kind of difficult to go work somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I just had this idea of I'm getting to the courage part, I promise.
Sure.
Having at that point been on both sides of the equation that we're talking about, right? I had been the CEO. There were times when I was the CEO that I felt helpless, and I don't think anybody realized it. There were things that I did not have control over. Some of them were small, like board decisions that I couldn't influence. Some of them were huge, like global pandemics.
Yeah.
And so I had a new empathy for leaders that I thought I had before. Like I always could feel compassion, but like now it's like, oh, you are not the be all end all that we think you are. But I still had a ton of empathy for employees. And that's when I began to see and have such a passion for like the key here is how we speak to each other and the expectations that we have of each other. And so I think the courage almost came out of I don't know if the word is desperation, but definitely a desire to heal that for people, to not just make cool workplaces, although sometimes that's the shorthand that I use, but to help people bridge that gap because I've been there on both sides. And it's hard, no matter what side that you're on. It's a hard place to be unless you can make that a healthy relationship.